The massive space station hung in the darkness like a jewel made of metal and light. Ships from 100 different worlds docked at its ports. Inside the station's greatest hall, thousands of beings gathered to watch the trials of supremacy. War Master Vorash stood in the center of the arena. His forearms crossed over his chest. His gray skin looked like stone. Sharp spikes ran down his back. He was 8 feet tall and built like a mountain. The Catheric had won these trials for 300 years. No species could match their strength. Around the arena, other warriors waited. The Veshkar hissed and clicked. Their insect bodies gleamed with natural armor. Acid dripped from their mandibles, burning small holes in the floor. The Shard Collective stood silent. Their crystalline bodies reflected the arena lights. They moved with perfect unity, sharing one mind across many bodies. Ambassador Zixtal watched from the viewing platform. His 3 eyes scanned the crowd. He had seen these trials many times. New species came. They fought. They lost. They learned their place in the galaxy. It was always the same story. The humans are arriving, someone announced. A wave of laughter rolled through the arena. Humans, the soft creatures from the small blue world. They had only just learned to travel between stars. Their planet was peaceful. Warm sun, gentle rain, prey animals and farmers, nothing more. The human ship docked. The airlock opened. Commander Elena Vasquez stepped through first. She was small, maybe 5.5 feet tall. Her skin was brown. Her dark hair was tied back. She wore a simple gray uniform. Behind her, more humans emerged. They all looked fragile. No claws, no armor. No fangs, just soft skin and curious eyes. Vorash looked down at the human commander. He could break her with one hand. "You are the warriors of Earth?" he asked. His voice sounded like rocks grinding together. Elena smiled. "We're the representatives of Earth," she said. Her voice was calm. "We're here for the trials." More laughter echoed through the arena. A Veshkar warrior stepped forward. Its compound eyes studied the humans. "Soft things," it clicked. "You will break in the first trial." Elena didn't look worried. She looked around the arena. She studied each species. Her team did the same. They whispered to each other. They took notes on small devices. The trial master raised his 6 arms for silence. He was old. His species had run these trials for 1,000 years. "The trials of supremacy will begin at dawn," he announced. "Single combat. Strength tests. Speed trials. Only the strong survive." "We request an addition to the trials," Elena said. The arena went quiet. Species didn't make requests. They obeyed the ancient rules. "What addition?" the trial master asked. "We request the survival trials be activated," Elena said. Silence, then confused murmurs. The survival trials were ancient. No one used them anymore. They weren't about fighting. They tested endurance, problem-solving. Adaptation in hostile places. Warriors found them boring. Vorash narrowed his eyes. "Why would you want those trials?" "They prove nothing about strength." Elena met his gaze. "They prove everything about survival." The trial master considered this. The old rules allowed such requests. "Very well," he said. "The survival trials will be included, but you will also face traditional combat. If your species cannot handle both, you will be eliminated." "We understand," Elena said. That night, the human team gathered in their small quarters. They didn't seem worried. They laughed together. They shared food. One of them played music on a small instrument. Others sang along. The guards watching them found this strange. Warriors should prepare for battle. They should focus, train, meditate. But humans acted like they were on vacation. Vorash visited the human quarters. Elena was sitting alone reading something on a screen. She looked up when he entered. "You should be afraid," Vorash said. "It wasn't a threat. Just a statement. My people have never lost these trials." "I know," Elena said. "Your species is impressive, strong, fast, durable. Yet you show no fear." Elena smiled. "Fear doesn't help. Preparation does. We've prepared. How can your soft species prepare? You have no natural weapons, no armor. Your world made you weak." Elena stood. She walked to the window. Earth hung in space, a blue and white marble. "Our world taught us to survive," she said. "That's different from being born to fight." Vorash didn't understand. But something in her tone made him uneasy. These humans were either very foolish or knew something he didn't. The next morning, the arena filled again. The first trial was announced. Single combat. Champions from each species would fight. The crowd cheered. This was what they came to see. The human champion stepped forward. His name was Marcus Chen. He was 6 feet tall, muscular for a human, but small compared to the others. He had brown skin and calm eyes. Vorash himself would fight. It was tradition for the War Master to face new species. They entered the combat circle. Vorash moved first. He was fast. His forearms struck like hammers. Marcus dodged, barely. One punch caught his shoulder. He flew backward. Hit the ground hard. The crowd cheered. The human was finished, but Marcus stood up. Blood ran from his mouth. He wiped it away. Then he smiled. Vorash attacked again. This time Marcus didn't try to match his strength. He moved, dodged, struck at joints and weak points. He fell twice more. Each time he got back up. Finally, Vorash landed a solid hit to Marcus's chest. The human crumpled. The fight was over. But as the medics came, Marcus was still conscious. Still smiling. Good fight, he said. Vorash stared at him. Most species stayed down after his first real hit. This human had taken dozens and kept rising. Elena helped Marcus to his feet. Told you the preparation would help, she said. Vorash watched them leave. For the first time in 300 trials, he felt something unusual. Curiosity. What were these humans? The second day of trials brought new tests. The strength competition made the arena shake. Catharic warriors lifted massive weights. They bent steel bars with their bare hands. The crowd roared with approval. The humans competed. They weren't the weakest, but they weren't impressive either. They lifted what they could. They moved on, no drama, no glory. Ambassador Zixtal sipped his drink in the viewing box. The humans are mediocre, he said to his companion. They will be eliminated by day 4. But then the trial master made an announcement. The ancient survival trials begin now. All species will be transported to hostile environments. You will have limited supplies. The trial lasts 48 hours. Survive. The arena's massive screens lit up. They showed different environments. Worlds of ice. Worlds of fire. Toxic swamps. Barren deserts. The first group was sent to a death world. Temperature, 50 degrees Celsius. Atmosphere barely breathable. Water scarce. Rocks and sand stretched to the horizon. No shade. No shelter. 10 species entered this trial, including humans. The Catharic warriors charged forward immediately. They would find water through strength. They would dominate the environment. That was their way. The Shard Collective moved together. They found a cave. They entered a state of low energy. Their crystalline bodies could wait. Patience was their strength. The Veshkar dug into the sand. Their armored bodies protected them from heat. They would wait underground until the trial ended. Then there were the humans. Elena's team of 5 stood in the burning sun. They didn't panic. They didn't rush. One of them pulled out a small cloth and tied it around her head. Another drank a small sip of water from their ration. Okay, team, Elena said. Standard desert protocol. They spread out slowly. They collected rocks. They found a cliff face with an overhang. In 1 hour, they had built a shelter. Rocks stacked to block the sun. Cloth stretched to create shade. They dug a small hole to trap cool air, then they sat and waited. Vorash watched on the arena screens. This made no sense. The humans weren't fighting the environment. They were living in it. As if they belonged there, 6 hours passed. The Catharic warriors were still searching for water. Their strength was fading. The heat drained them. Their bodies were built for power, not endurance. The humans? One of them was humming a song. Another was drawing in the sand with a stick. They looked almost comfortable. How? Vorash asked the trial master. The heat should kill them. The trial master studied the data. Their bodies are releasing water through their skin, cooling themselves. Very inefficient. But it works 12 hours. A Catharic warrior collapsed. Medical teams removed him. The strong warrior had fallen to the sun. The humans were telling stories to each other. One of them, a woman named Sarah, was describing something called camping trips from Earth. The others laughed. 20 hours. More warriors dropped out. The heat was too much. Even the Veshkar emerged from underground seeking cooler areas. The humans had barely moved. They sat in their shelter. They sipped water slowly. They took turns sleeping while others kept watch. Vorash couldn't believe it. They're not even trying, he said. Elena, watching from the arena, smiled. They're doing exactly what they evolved to do, she said to no one in particular. Ambassador Zixtal had stopped drinking. He was leaning forward now. I've never seen a species do this, he muttered. The trial continued. 30 hours. 40 hours. The humans emerged from their shelter when the temperature dropped at night. They searched for water, found a small amount in a rock depression. They filtered it through cloth, boiled it using a fire they made from dried plants. They were engineering solutions, using their hands, using their minds, adapting. One of the humans, a man named David, had injured his leg on a sharp rock. It was broken. Most species would quit, but David took 2 straight pieces of wood. He tied them to his leg with strips of cloth, a splint. Then he kept going. He's still competing? Vorash asked. With a broken bone? Humans don't stop easy, Elena said. She had joined him in the viewing area. We evolved chasing prey animals across huge distances. Our ancestors would track an antelope for days. The animal was faster, but we never stopped. We walked and walked until the animal collapsed from exhaustion. Then we ate. Vorash turned to look at her. Really look at her. You're persistence predators. Yes. I didn't know such hunters existed. Now you do. 48 hours passed. The trial ended. The humans walked out of their shelter. They were tired, sunburned, but all 5 were walking. No eliminations. Only 3 Catheric warriors finished. 2 Veshkar, 1 cluster of the Shard Collective, and all 5 humans. The crowd was silent. This wasn't how trials worked. The mighty warriors should dominate. The soft species should fail, but the humans had simply continued. The next trial was announced immediately. 72-hour endurance gauntlet, minimum rest, constant movement through obstacle courses. The strong would prove themselves. The Catheric warriors roared their acceptance. This was their domain. Speed and power. For the first 20 hours, they were right. The Catheric blazed through obstacles. They jumped. They climbed. They destroyed barriers. The Veshkar moved with chittering efficiency. Other species pushed themselves hard. The humans? They moved at a steady pace, not fast, not slow, just steady 25 hours. The Catheric were still leading, but their movements were slower. Their muscles burned. Their bodies demanded rest. The humans maintained their pace. 30 hours. Warriors began to stumble. They had pushed too hard, too fast. Their bodies were failing. The humans kept going. They had switched to what one of them called the marathon pace. They talked to each other as they moved. They sang songs. They made jokes about their sore feet. 40 hours. Half the warriors had dropped out. Exhaustion. Injury. Their bodies weren't built for this. The humans looked tired, but they weren't stopping. Vorash was in the trial himself. His forearms ached. His legs felt like stone. He had fought battles that lasted hours. But this was different. This wasn't about one moment of glory. This was about continuing when every part of you wanted to quit. He looked ahead, saw a human woman. She was older, maybe 50 years old by human standards. She was breathing hard, but she was still moving. Still putting one foot in front of the other. Vorash realized something terrible, something that shook his understanding of the universe. The humans weren't going to stop. They didn't know how to stop. 60 hours. Vorash dropped out. His body shut down. He had nothing left to give. The humans were still moving. 72 hours. The trial ended. 3 humans finished. 2 had been eliminated by injuries, not exhaustion. 3 humans. 1 Veshkar. 0 Catheric. The crowd wasn't cheering anymore. They were staring in shocked silence. What were these creatures from Earth? The final trial was announced. The Gauntlet of Madness. Every warrior faced it alone. The simulation would create their worst fears, push them to their absolute limits, break them down, see what remained. The arena filled to capacity. This was the trial everyone wanted to see, where champions were truly made. Vorash had recovered enough to compete. His pride demanded it. He entered the simulation chamber. The world around him changed. He stood on a battlefield. Thousands of enemies surrounded him. Catheric enemies. His own people. They charged. He fought. His forearms struck like thunder. He destroyed dozens, then hundreds. But they kept coming. More and more. endless. His arms grew tired. His body slowed. Still they came. He fought until he couldn't lift his arms anymore, until he collapsed. The simulation ended. He had lasted 17 minutes. When he emerged, he was shaking. Not from fear, from realization. He couldn't win against endless enemies. No one could. The simulation was designed to show your limits. Other species entered. The Veshkar faced isolation from their hive mind. They panicked within minutes. The Shard Collective faced disconnection. They shattered. Each species faced their deepest weakness. Each species broke. Then Sarah, the older human woman, entered the chamber. The arena grew quiet. What would a human's worst fear be? The simulation began. Sarah stood in what looked like a human dwelling, a home. In front of her stood other humans. They were arguing, shouting. One held a weapon. Violence was coming. But Sarah didn't reach for a weapon. She held up her hands. Please. Her voice was calm. We don't have to do this. Talk to me. Tell me what's wrong. The simulated humans continued to threaten. Sarah kept talking. She listened. She responded. She found common ground. Slowly, the tension decreased. The weapon was lowered. They talked. The simulation changed. Now she was in a burning building. She could hear voices calling for help. She moved through the fire, found a trapped person, dragged them out, went back for more, again and again. The building collapsed around her. She barely escaped with the last person. The simulation changed again. A medical emergency. Sarah performed first aid, saved a life. Then another scenario. And another. Each time Sarah solved the problem. Not with strength, not with power, but with knowledge, compassion, determination. When she emerged, she had lasted 32 minutes. The longest time yet. The crowd was stunned. The human hadn't fought. She had helped. Even in simulation. Even against her worst fears. More humans entered. Each one faced different scenarios. But they all did the same thing. They solved problems. They helped. They persisted. They showed mercy even when violence would have been easier. Marcus faced a simulation of hand-to-hand combat. He fought well. But when his opponent fell, Marcus offered a hand to help them up. In the simulation. Where it didn't matter, he did it anyway. That evening, Vorash requested a private meeting with Elena. They met in a quiet observation room overlooking the stars. I need to understand something, Vorash said. The people you brought, are they your best warriors? Elena was quiet for a moment. Then she laughed. Not mockery, just genuine amusement. No, they're not warriors at all. Vorash stared at her. What? Sarah is a doctor. She saves lives on Earth. Marcus is a construction engineer. He builds homes. David teaches children. The others? An artist, an athlete, a musician who also works as a paramedic. But the trials are tests of survival, endurance, and cooperation. Any human can do these things, because we all evolved to do them. We didn't send warriors because that's not what this was about. Vorash felt his world shifting. You sent civilians to a warrior's competition. We sent humans. Every one of us is capable of what you've seen here, because every one of us faces challenges in life. We all struggle. We all keep going. We all choose how to treat others. But on Earth, you must have warriors, soldiers. Yes, we have them. They're brave and skilled. But sending only warriors would tell you nothing about humanity. We wanted you to see what all of us can do, not just the specialized few. Vorash walked to the window, looked at the stars. His entire understanding of strength was crumbling. My people breed for war. Only the strongest reproduce. We have done this for 3,000 years. We are perfect warriors. You are. No question. But we lost to doctors and teachers. Elena joined him at the window. You didn't lose. You're still the strongest species here, the most physically powerful. No human can match a Catheric in direct combat. You proved that when you fought Marcus. Then what did we lose? Maybe you didn't lose anything. Maybe you're learning something new. Vorash turned to look at her. What? Elena pulled out a small device. She showed him images from Earth. Cities, art, music, literature, children playing, people helping each other after disasters, scientists working together from different nations. This is Earth. We spent thousands of years fighting each other. We built weapons that could destroy our entire world. We almost used them. Several times. Vorash saw images of destruction, weapons that could level cities. You nearly destroyed yourselves. Yes, and we chose not to. We chose to build instead, to cooperate, to explore space together rather than conquer each other. It wasn't easy. We still fight sometimes, still disagree, but we keep trying to be better. Why? Because being the deadliest doesn't make you the strongest. We learned that the hard way. Our greatest achievement isn't our weapons, it's choosing not to use them. Vorash was silent for a long time. He thought about the Cathartic. They had been warriors for so long. Fighting was all they knew, all they valued. But what else had they lost? Did they have art, music, philosophy? When had his people last created something instead of destroying? What is Earth trying to teach the galaxy? He asked quietly. That there's more to life than fighting. That cooperation can achieve things that domination never can. That being able to destroy something doesn't mean you should. Elena paused. And that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is choose peace when you're capable of war. My people will struggle with this. All people struggle with it. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Vorash looked at the humans one more time. These small, soft creatures who had no natural weapons, who came from a peaceful world, who sent doctors and teachers to warrior trials, and succeeded. You said you're not warriors, Vorash said. We're not. Then what are you? Elena smiled. We're survivors, we're builders, we're stubborn as hell. We're dreamers who make those dreams real. We're humans. And maybe that's enough. Vorash felt something strange. Respect. Not for strength, but for something deeper. These humans had shown the galaxy something it had forgotten. That survival wasn't about being the deadliest predator. It was about adapting, enduring, helping each other. The trials end tomorrow, he said. The final scores will be calculated. Yes, humans will not win overall. The Cathartic still lead in most categories. That's okay. We didn't come here to win. Then why did you come? Elena looked out at Earth hanging in the distance. To show you who we are, and maybe to learn who you are too. To start a conversation. Because the galaxy is big and full of challenges. We'll face them better together than apart. Vorash understood then. The humans hadn't come to conquer. They had come to connect. And in doing so, they had achieved something no warrior ever had. They had made him question everything he believed about strength. The final day of the Trials of Supremacy arrived. The arena was more crowded than it had been in decades. Everyone wanted to see the results. To understand what had happened, the trial master stood at the center. His 6 arms spread wide. The trials are complete, he announced. His voice echoed through the massive space. The scores have been calculated. The screens lit up with numbers, categories, ranks. Single combat, Cathartic dominated. 1st through 5th place. Humans ranked 15th strength trials, Cathartic again. Veshkar 2nd. Humans ranked 12th speed trials. The Crystalline Shard Collective 1st. Cathartic 2nd. Humans ranked 10th, the crowd nodded. This made sense. The natural order. But then the other categories appeared. Endurance trials. Humans ranked 1st. Cathartic didn't appear in the top 10. Problem solving, humans ranked 2nd. Behind only the Shard Collective's hive mind. Team coordination, humans ranked 1st. Adaptability, humans ranked 1st. Overall scores were calculated. The Cathartic won. They had dominated too many categories. But humans ranked 3rd overall, 3rd in the entire galaxy. A species that had just learned to travel the stars. A species with no natural weapons. The crowd was silent. This shouldn't be possible. But the numbers didn't lie. Ambassador Zixtal stood from his seat. "I request clarification," he said. "The humans lost most direct competitions. How can they rank so high?" The trial master looked at the data. "Because the survival trials carried equal weight. Ancient law. The humans succeeded where most species failed. They completed every trial. Many species were eliminated. The humans persisted. This changes everything," someone in the crowd said. And they were right. After the ceremony, something unprecedented happened. The Veshkar hive representative approached Elena. The insect being clicked and hissed. A translator device spoke. "The Veshkar wish to learn from humans. We are strong individually, but we panic when separated. How do humans function alone yet together?" Elena smiled. "We'd be happy to share. Maybe you can teach us about your hive coordination in return." The Veshkar clicked in agreement. Then came the Shard Collective. Their crystalline bodies chimed like bells. "We are one mind. You are many minds that work as one. This is fascinating. We wish to understand." More species approached, not to challenge, to learn, to talk, to understand these strange humans. But the most significant moment came when Vorash approached Elena. With him were 5 other Catharic warriors. They all bowed. A deep, respectful bow. "We have been warriors for 3,000 years, Vorash said. "We have forgotten how to be anything else. The Catharic High Council wishes to request human advisors." "Advisors for what?" Elena asked. "For remembering how to live, how to build, how to create." Vorash's forearms spread in a gesture of openness. "We are strong, but strength alone is not enough. You have shown us this." Elena felt tears forming. She blinked them away. "We would be honored." Krath, the warrior that Marcus had saved, stepped forward. "I wish to go to Earth, to learn more about humans, to bring this knowledge back to my people." "You're welcome any time," Marcus said, clapping the large warrior on his armored shoulder. In the days that followed, the galaxy began to shift. The news networks that had mocked the humans now studied them. Scientists wanted to understand human endurance. Sociologists wanted to understand human cooperation. Military leaders wanted to understand human persistence. But more than that, the species of the galaxy began to question their own cultures. The Catharic began asking, "When did we last create art?" The Veshkar wondered, "Can we exist as individuals without losing our connection?" The Shard Collective questioned, "What is it like to disagree and still cooperate?" One evening, Elena and Vorash sat together in the observation lounge. The trials were over. Ships were preparing to depart, but they had one more conversation to share. "What will happen to the Catharic?" Elena asked. Vorash was quiet for a moment. "Change is difficult for us. We have been one thing for so long. But I think we have been afraid." "Afraid? You're the strongest species in the galaxy. Afraid of being weak, afraid of being soft. So we made ourselves hard, strong. We eliminated everything that wasn't about fighting. But you showed us that we eliminated too much. You didn't eliminate it. It's still there. You just forgot about it." Vorash looked at his 4 hands, built for destruction. But they could also build, create, help. He had just never tried. "How did humans do it? How did you stop fighting yourselves?" Elena laughed softly. "We didn't completely. We still have conflicts, still disagree. But we learned that talking is better than fighting. That building together achieves more than destroying each other. And that every person, no matter how different, has value. Even weak people. There are no weak people. Only people who haven't found what they're strong at yet." Vorash absorbed this. On the viewing screen, Earth rotated slowly. That small blue world that looked so peaceful. It had nearly destroyed itself, but chose differently, and now it was teaching the galaxy to choose differently too. "What came from Earth," Vorash said slowly, "wasn't warriors. It was something we forgot we could be." "What's that?" "Complete. You are warriors when needed. Builders when needed. Teachers, healers, artists, you are everything. We became only one thing. Only warriors. And we didn't even realize what we had lost." Elena nodded. "Every species has gifts. Yours is strength. Ours is adaptability. The Veshkar have perfect coordination. The Shard Collective have unified purpose. We're all valuable. We all have something to teach each other. The galaxy will be different now. I hope so." A week later, the humans prepared to depart. A crowd gathered to see them off. Not to mock, Not to challenge, but to say goodbye to friends. Sarah hugged a young Veshkar who had asked to learn human medicine. "You'll do great things," she said. David exchanged contact information with a Shard collective cluster. "Send me your mathematical theorems. I'll send you ours." Marcus stood with Krath, the two warriors clasped arms. "Visit Earth," Marcus said. "I'll show you where I grew up. Mountains, forests, peace." "I would like that," Krath said. Elena was the last to board. Vorash stopped her at the airlock. "Thank you," he said simply. "For what?" "For reminding us. For showing us. For being patient with us," he paused. "The Catheric were the deadliest warriors in the galaxy. We thought that made us the strongest. You showed us we were wrong. You're not wrong. You're incredibly strong. You're just learning there are different kinds of strength." "Will humans return to the trials?" Elena smiled. "Maybe, but next time we might bring our actual soldiers. Just to see what happens." Vorash's eyes widened slightly. "These were not your soldiers?" "Nope, just regular people." Vorash laughed. Actually laughed. A sound the Catheric rarely made. The galaxy has no idea what it's dealing with. Neither do we sometimes. "We're just doing our best, that is enough. More than enough." Elena boarded the ship. Through the viewport she watched the station grow smaller. The trials were over. But something new had begun. Not conquest. Not domination. But cooperation, understanding, growth. Behind her, Sarah was teaching the crew a new song. David was writing notes about everything he'd learned. Marcus was exercising as always, but with a smile. "Commander," the pilot said, "we're ready to depart. Course for Earth." Elena looked at the stars, at the countless worlds out there, at the species they'd met, the friends they'd made, the minds they'd changed. "Yes," she said. "Take us home. We have a lot to tell them." As the ship jumped to faster-than-light travel, Elena thought about what they'd achieved. They hadn't conquered the galaxy. They hadn't proven humans were the best. They'd done something simpler, something harder, something more important. They'd shown the galaxy that there was more than one way to be strong, that cooperation beat domination, that persistence beat power, that being able to destroy something didn't mean you should. The galaxy's deadliest warriors couldn't comprehend what came from Earth, not because it was too complex, but because it was too simple. It was humanity in its most basic form, stubborn, adaptable, compassionate, persistent, hopeful, and maybe, just maybe, that was exactly what the galaxy needed. Earth grew larger in the viewport. Home, that small blue world. Elena smiled. They had gone to the stars to prove themselves. Instead, they'd proven something better. That humanity's greatest strength wasn't in fighting. It was in choosing not to fight. In building bridges instead of walls. In lifting others up instead of putting them down. The galaxy's deadliest warriors were learning a new lesson. And humanity was happy to be the teacher. Because in the end, humanity didn't need to be the deadliest. They just needed to be themselves. And that was more than enough.